Hello, welcome back to another session that we write code together. We will continue from last session. Let's see what we have done as so far. We were working on that issue in InputKit, one of my open source project. We were working on validations. As you can see, there should be a validation collection that user can customize. We came a long way in last session. Let's see what we have done. We done that use case. That use case is now possible. You can see there is a validations collection, and user can declare multiple validation with custom messages. So let's make a demo. It's a recap of last session. This is FormView page, and you can see this is a required field. If I leave it empty, it will warn me. This is another validation. This is, I don't know what is it. This is a custom regex pattern. It was a demonstration. It was a try. At least 3 characters, but it's already contains 3 characters. I think there's a problem. Okay, the validation state isn't updated. Let's check what is different. Let's go back to advanced entry. By the way, I organized my commits and separated my branch. So let's start from beginning. This is our class. This is our partial class. As you know, we separated this class two files. Sorry, it's still a single class, but we have two partial classes. In here, let's check what can be wrong. We can debug it still, but is the last state the same? Let us check. Let's start with debugging today. Maybe my implementation was wrong because it's not released. It was on development state, and I figured it out. It will be better in the InputKit than Uranium UI. But we cannot debug like that, because each time when I hit the key on keyboard, it will be triggered. Let's write something. For example, make it required. Yeah, when I hit OK, it goes. The problem is here. What was the problem? When I remove that regex expression, everything worked well, but I don't know why. But still a problem. It says required. It says it is required, but yeah, I already written some of data in it, but when it is not validated once, it shows all the messages. I think. Let me check. Let me debug it here. Yeah, now last validation state false, because it's not validated before. After change, it's still false, so that means state isn't changed. Oh, one single validation doesn't update the state, I think. Let's continue. Validation isn't passed, yes. The message is result. I pick all of the messages from result, but one of them is passed, one of them isn't passed, but I don't filter none of it. Okay, this is the problem. I don't need to pick all of them. We should filter it. We will pick only only message from is invalid one. Yeah, not invalid, not valid. So I don't know which one is more readable. I don't know. Let's keep it like that. If it's not validated, so I can pick the message. I think this solves the problem. Yeah, I don't see is required validation because I have already write some data in it. If I remove, it says, yeah, this field is required and it should contain at least 3 characters. But if I write something, the second validation goes. Same scenario here. When I hit something, it will be hidden. It won't be visible anymore. So we solve a problem from now. I will commit it. Okay, remove it from here. Okay. Commit it. This is my special branch. Yes. Let's continue. We can continue here. Display validation. Display validation is interface implementation. You can see there's a display validation because that method will be used by FormView. FormView triggers that method when user hits submit button because as you can see, where is my app sandbox? I will run it again. In the initial state, the inputs aren't validated. But if user hits the submit button without interacting them, the validation should be shown. For example, this field is required, or this field is also required. When user hits that button, validations should be shown. So this method will be called by FormView, but as you know, we disabled all of the features of FormView to prevent compile errors in the last session. So FormView doesn't work well right now, but we will complete advanced entry implementation first, then we will implement FormView. So display validation we'll do same logic with this one because each text changed, this method will be invoked. Also, display validation method can do same logic. I think that's okay right now. I think we can go with FormView. So I want to remove all of them, but I'm not sure. I'm not really sure. So there's a query, there's a nested query that searches for validatable objects. And if registers or child changes, if the user adds new controls, new components under this form view, it will be tracked. But validation changed. Okay, I see. Validation change is required because this component, this control, sends the validation state to view model. To send it to the view model, I need to know its last state when it changed. But I don't know, is there any easier way? to handle it, or we should define events? Okay, let's uncomment them. Let's find new solutions for that. Yeah, you can see there's a property, there's a bindable property, and FormView has only one property, is validated property, and all the purpose of this control, all the purpose of this FormView is sending that is validated property to view model. That is the one single responsibility. But it needs to know, it needs to know each child object and their childs. There should be a nested child check. So declare events. Set event, what does it mean? Validation change. I need really validation change event or something else. How can I handle validation change? View is valid and validations. Let me think a couple of seconds. If we implement an event, a C# event, we have to call it, we have to invoke it from each component. I'll go back to my advanced entry, how we can define the state change. State is changing here. This state changed. When the state changed, we have to notify FormView to send that value to view model. So event seems right, but it's really hard to manage. What do? We are changing the text, and there's no state. We have only last state, but it's also private. We cannot access this one, and there's no state. There's no state. There's is valid. Maybe this on property change, maybe on property change method can be invoked, and we can listen property change, but it is still same logic. Yeah, let's implement it. It's valid. I'll go with that method. I will call onProperty changed and invoke property changed event. So FormView can listen it. Yeah, FormView can listen it. That's better way. It's better than implementing a C# event to each component. This component is valid until all the validations are completed, but there's a method that checks validations. There's validation results method. It's enumerates the validation results, so it's not calculated when I call it. It will be calculated again and again, so that is useful in that situation. I want to calculate when this property is get. All of them should be succeeded. All of them should be valid to make this input valid. Okay, the getter is okay, is valid, is implemented. Oops, sorry. Now we have to call on property changed if state is changed. State is changed, state is changed. I don't want to add another if for is state changed. It's not, it doesn't seem like it's manageable and it's not maintainable. Also, it's hard to read. We already have that states. I will write it twice, but it's much more readable. That's what I think. Maybe it's not. On property changed, the property is valid. Same thing in here. Also, that means results all. Also, that means is valid. We already implemented it. The validation passed. Is valid. Ah, sorry. There's a optimization. All of the results are calculated and assigned to an array, and we are working on this array, and we don't enumerate all of them again and again. Okay. That's an optimization. Okay. We can leave it like that. On property changed. This side is completed. We can go back our form view and start implementing. There's no validation change event anymore, but we are sure this is a validatable. This is a validatable object. But how we can sure? Let me check. Yeah, there's a type check here, but there's 3 usage of it. Second one is child, get child. This is I think recursive check is valid. We change that name. Okay. Is validatable. Yeah, okay. That's a key check, and also it's a recursive method. Okay. We are sure. The last one is this one, and also this one has type check. Okay. We are sure the view is validatable in here. So if it's null, return. Okay, but I don't prefer this kind of expression. I will add braces. Now view, but we cannot see here properly changed because it's our custom interface. Maybe I can declare here I property changed. I notify property changed. That might be a good solution, but I'm not sure. Is it correct for all situations? I don't know. I'm not sure. If an object is validatable, it should be also inotify changed. If it's not a bindable object, it should implement it manually. But if I check it here, I think this one is better. because I don't add any unnecessary dependency to my interface, because it comes from system component model. But it's a regular namespace. Okay, I go with that. I don't write any line here. So property changed. Property changed. Only validation changed. So it's not guarantee because some of property changed, but it might be not a validation is valid property. So I will declare another method for that. Property changed. Let's say validatable property changed. Maybe I can use on property changed. Yes, create a new one. Create a new. Where is the method? Create a new method here. I will use it. I will implement it later. I will change all of them. Property changed. There was a method with name register events, declare events, sorry, set event, and it comes to that method. Okay, okay. But I will change that name. I don't mind because declaration is different thing. It is not declaration. It registers to events. Register events. I think this is much more better name. I will add braces. I will add braces. Now I will add braces. I'm refactoring it. Child added. Okay, registers event at the beginning. It searches their children recursively and sets event. Set event events an event. Okay, I will call it as register event. Register events and register event. Singular and plural. Okay, that is much more better. So at the beginning, it registers all the events. Children and children. It finds all of the validatable objects under it recursively. Okay, it registers events for validation chains, but it isn't completed yet. A child can be added at runtime or it can be removed. So we use a event for that. If a new child added and that child is validatable object, register event. If it's not a validatable object, but it's a layout like stack layout, like flex layout, or it can be a grid. If user adds another layout, we are tracking that child changes because that layout will contain any input, will contain some input. Yeah, that's right. That logic is good. I even don't remember that logic, but that logic is good. So I don't change it. Register events, register event. Now we can implement it. Everything looks great. This name is changed. If validatable object is validatable is validatable object isn't voided here. Okay, I will use braces here. Now there's no call here. This method stands alone. So you'll call this method if the changed properties is valid. Is valid. Now we can call that method. I will refactor the name. There is no need to sender, or we need sender, because it uses the sender to check if it's validated or not. But we know it is already validatable object because we register from validatable object. So I can pass here a validatable object. And ignore the second parameter. Now I can pass sender as iValidatable. So we can use validatable here. Now check validation. Okay. I don't know when this method executed. I'll find out. Set value is validated properly. Check validation for a layout is valid. It is strange. I couldn't get the logic. If a validatable object is not validated, just set this property as false and send it to view model, because if I call set value over an bindable property, that parameter will be sent to view model because this property is changed after I call this method. If a validatable object isn't validated, send false. Send false to the view model. Okay, that's okay. But if it's validated, I will invert it if it's not readable. Yeah. If it is valid, check validation and send the result to the view model. Because, yeah, this is one of the control. One of the input is valid, but it checks entire FormView to send final result to view model. Okay, that's understandable. If one of them is not valid, form won't be valid because one of them is invalid. The rest of them isn't important. So this is the logic. If one of them is valid, because validation has changed, if one of them valid, check the rest of them. If all of them is valid, send the result. Send the result. If one of them is not valid, return false again. This is optimization, kind of optimization. So I got the logic. I remember. Also, I don't remember, but I got the logic. Why it is static? Get child. Okay. Gets children of a layout. Okay. I think it's okay, but I don't know when to trigger display validation. Is there any implementation here? Display validation. Yeah, this method is declared here, but isn't used here. I don't know when to call it, but I will check the current state of FormView. Yeah, display validation isn't called. But I'm not sure. Is validated. This is bindable property, has a setter, has an empty setter. But I don't know. To make it invisible in XAML page, declaring a bindable property should be enough. But I don't know. That comes from XAML Forms 2.4 or 3. I don't remember when I did it first, but it was version 2. Maybe the logic was like that. But in that version in develop, I will find where to call this method. So advanced entry calls itself. Advanced entry calls itself. Radio button, advanced slider, checkbox. As there's an empty implementation on checkbox because there can be no validation for checkbox. So that method isn't used at all. I'm thinking about how people can trigger this from view model. Is validated an expression when it is get. I don't know. Let me some debugging. Let me debug something. I wonder when this properties get. If it get, yeah, if it is get when user hit the button, when user sends data to view model, calling that method in here is okay. That isn't triggered yet. That isn't triggered yet. This is not validated. Let me leave here. That isn't called yet. That means this is unnecessary property. But it has bindable property attached, yes. That bindable property is used by view model. One way to source. So that's I understand why it isn't get, because it's one way to source, and when I update it, it will be sent to view model directly to binding context or whatever you say. But in that case, it is view model. I couldn't achieve what I want. Maybe I can use submit logic because there's no submit logic. Let's say there's an API. Show validations and call validation method for each child. Get child I validatable. That method will help. I can send parameter with this, like this one. If I use that iteration, it will get all of the children recursively. Item is invalidatable. Yeah, I can call. There's a method for that, but I'm not sure how to use it. Maybe declaring a use case first is better. Let me declare a use case. How people will use, how developers should use it. Go back to advanced entry page. So this is a form view and is validated properties bound. There's a binding there. So where is the view model? Let me go declaration and I can show them side by side. There's a submit comment here, but oh yeah, this button takes action for submitting. So when it's submitted, submit command here, when it is submitted, is validated. So there is no way to understand this form is submitted or not, because submit is done by this third-party button, and FormView don't know anything. Maybe there's a submit command in FormView. Sorry, submit command. So I can bind it like that. Submit command. But what this button should do? Is there any manual implementation? Click and submit this. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about it. Maybe I can use a data binding to check state. But it is not a good solution. That's what I mean. I will create a bindable property here. Let's say it is submitted, and view model can set it to true. When it's set as true, display validation method will be executed. So let's say is submitted true. But it's not a good state management, because this state isn't managed by FormView, but also this state isn't part of the view model. It's man in the middle. There's no proper implementation in anywhere. They should be coupled. view model and form view. We can find the button inside the layout, so people don't use it. Commands submit, but there can be multiple button in it. For example, there can be two buttons. Maybe second one is cancel or clear. Not cancel, but it might be a clear button, so I cannot understand which one is submit, which one is clear. Submit button should have some specific property to present its submit. In HTML, like type submit, but it's not HTML, it's MAUI. Is there any idea or something else to declare it's a submit button? Style class isn't a good solution, but we can use style class. But it isn't a good solution. When it's clicked, it can submit the form view, but it needs to C# implementation. Everything should be done in XAML and view model. So I don't prefer this one. So let's keep it like that. That's okay for now. I will think about it, and if I find something, I will share. Maybe inputs can do it themselves. When user unfocus it, it can show the validation, but it doesn't solve the problem. The problem is user opens that form, comes to this page and hits submit button. When submit button hit, I want to show a validation. I want to show all of the validation. I'm not sure. This submit command isn't executed by FormView. Submit command is executed by button. I don't prefer this one. I don't prefer this one. Is there an ID for controls? What is it? Semantically similar elements. Okay, it isn't for us. We have to declare a button that will submit the form. I will use some style. I don't know if there's no style with that class. Will it be a problem? Well, it is not style. I don't want to use it. Maybe style, maybe class ID. But it's not for this purpose. So let's create an attached. Let's create an attached property. Will it work? I'm thinking yes. Attached properties. Let's say MAUI. Yeah, here. An attached property can be attached to another bindable object, like a shadow. In this scenario, I will use this property to declare is button submit button or not. Okay, I will create a attached property. Let's say is submit button. Go back to FormView code and I will add attached property to button. I don't know what exactly. Okay, I will remove all of them. This comments isn't important to me. So first one is bindable property create. So I will wrap parameters because it's not readable. So create a bindable property, but it's not has shadow property. It is submit button property. Name is submit button. Yeah, type is Boolean. Which type? Attach this property to button. Default value is false. Yes. Property change. I don't do anything when property changed. I will use that property to keep state. But we need getter and setter. Create accessors. Static get has shadow. Let's copy it. We need static accessors because we cannot declare a instance property to button because button is already compiled class. I cannot add any of properties, so I need static getter and setter. Get is submit. Set is submit. Not submit, it's submit button. Sorry, this is my bad. Is submit button. Is submit button. The property name is submit button property. Is submit button property. So it is a Boolean value. Yes, it's a Boolean value. Now I can find. Yeah, I can find the submit button while visiting each children. For the first one, register events. Register event for item. Yeah, but we will register another event. But this one is search for validatable objects. and it's a recursive. So I can add another rule here, else if. I don't know that else if statement, but I don't know. I want to make it running, then I can refactor. So if item is button and get is submit button, if it is submit button item, but item is a I view with I view, yes, but I'm sure it is a button, so I can declare here. I can pass this parameter. So it's a bindable object because its button is submit button. Yeah, if it is a button and if it's submit button, I don't want to return it, but I want to declare an event. Yeah, button. But this method gets the child validatables. I cannot declare event here because it's not the method purpose. This is not a good solution. But this method visits all of the children. I'm not sure. Let's continue. I will refactor it. When it's clicked, it is not button click, it is submit button click. Also, we can visit this button for a second time. So if the event declared, remove it first, then declare it again. So in that case, there won't be a problem, but still it's against the method purpose. We'll refactor it. So there's a static void, but it shouldn't. Oh, I got it. This is a static method. It gets layout, gets children of layouts of a layout. Okay. So I want to declare an action here. Is it no, I cannot unregister this action from this event. So I can continue with. I don't want to reiterate all of the child objects from somewhere else, but I think this is the only way. Static. Or I can return bindable object instead of iValidatable, and I can filter it where I use the child validatables or submit button. It's not. I don't want to lose my optimization. It is really optimized if I do it in the same loop, because it's a nested. It's a nested loop because this loop calls itself. It's a doing it twice. It's not a good solution for me. I don't want to do it twice. So Let's define another one. Then define static enumerable. It is a bindable object, but iValidatable isn't a bindable object. But it isn't important because each view is a bindable object. Okay. Get child validatables and submit buttons. Yeah, it's a long method name, but it explains what it does. This is the important thing. We need a layout. So the logic is same. Sorry, the logic is completely the same. We don't declare an event. We just return that button also. Is validatable. Okay, just return item. Item is validatable. Oh, I see. Item is view. Item is view. Okay, but view implements iView. Also, all of the children is view. I know it, so I can cast it. Child. It should call itself, and child can be returned here. If it's validatable, I can return the view itself again. So yeah, that's okay. I will stop the application. Okay. Now there is some errors. Register event requires a validatable object, but yeah, that's okay. That's okay. If child is iValidatable, there is already a name with validatable. Where is it? Here. Okay, let's say child validatable and register event. Let's pass this parameter to method, and everything works well. To register events, the plural one, and calls all of them. We can call the new button, new method, and we can filter with where. There's no problem. We can use even if here. It's the same because it's not calculated. It is iterating children one by one. So let's go back. We can write a var expression here, but I think if is much more performant here. Those expressions will be parsed. So if item is there is not too much performance increase. Even user cannot understand with their eyes. People cannot understand that performance difference. So it doesn't matter. You can use even link expression here. If item is validatable, let's say it is validatable, and pass this validatable as parameter. So this implementation is okay. But register events, event register. So I don't want to separate two methods. Register event should be bindable object, So I can finish everything in that method. So I don't check anything because I know this type is match, because this method already checked it. It is a validatable object or it is a submit button. So in that case, it should be a validatable object. Now we can check it. Item is validatable, validatable. Now and it should be validatable. Okay, that's okay. And here I don't check any type and pass child as it is. Now that event checks everything. For the first time, I should check if it is a validatable. View is validatable, but I don't need. Also, bindable object has property changed. If view is button, I think there's a better solution. Get is submit button. Make sure if it is a submit button. This method also checks it, but checking if it's button is worse than checking is if it's submit button. So I don't check the type until I make sure if it's a submit button. So I will pass view here. If it's a boolean field, yeah. Now view clicked. Yeah, it should be button. Yeah, I will check both of them. And view is button at the same time. Submit button. Submit button clicked. There should be a method submit button clicked. Yes, this is the method. Or show validations. This is a temporary. Sorry. Place that method here and assign it there, but it might be triggered twice or more than once. So I just remove that event implementation and re-add it again. When submit button is clicked, first we need to declare another bindable property for submit command, because in that case submit command will be declared on FormView. That's that. Let's create a property first. This is command submit command. Let's create another bindable property for submit command. Submit command property is name. Name is submit command. Maybe you can use only command. Most of my components use that name. Use the name as only command instead of action and command, like submit command or cancel command. They will use just command, but it's not understandable. I think I will use submit command. Type is command. Type declared type is FormView. We'll bind it over a FormView. Default value, there's no default value. So that is enough. This is not attached property. This is a regular bindable property with a backend field, not field, with a backing property. It should return command get value I hit some shortcut. Okay, I think it was a build shortcut. Yeah, submit command. This is not submit command. Submit command preparate. When to set value and pass the value to the bindable property. Now when submit command is set, it doesn't matter when it is set. I will execute. I will invoke that command when submit button hit. Submit button clicked. If it's not now, invoke it. There is no invoke. Execute it. Yes. Parameter it can send itself, but in the best practice, as a best practice, we have to define command parameter, but I'm not sure. Maybe we can send state. Is better approach. Is validated state. Now we can iterate all of the child elements, child and submit buttons. In this layout, and call a var expression here. I don't like it. We can go with if check. Child is I validatable, let's say it is validatable. Validatable show display validation after a successful submit. If it's not validated, running this command, if it's not validated, but to calculate validation, it will search all the child, but it's bindable property. It is updated. Okay, doing it according to this logic is much more optimized. Oh, I think it's working right now. But before I run it, we have to declare our button as submit button. Registered event validatable. It doesn't important if it's validatable or not. It is important if it's validatable or not, but it's not important to send with this type. Type should be a bindable object because we change it. Yeah, internal API doesn't feel good. I don't feel really comfortable for internal API, but I will make it running, and then we will refactor it. Now it is okay. Now we can go back to our page and declare command here, submit command. Yeah, it is visible here, binding submit command to the form view. Now that means I will remove the command from button, but I will add something else to button. Is submit button. Let's say it is true. I don't know why I cannot use it. Since it is attach property, I shall use it. What is the problem? Why there's no build button? Or it is already building? Yeah, it is already building. Visual Studio is stuck. Now I can build. I think there is another way to use it. The submit button, because yeah, input. Let's call it with namespace input FormView submit button true. Yeah, this is the usage of attach properties. Nothing happens. Let us debug it. Everything seems right, but there's always a problem. I want to check this state. Is wrong place. I want to put a breakpoint here. So there's no submit button in the layout. Because, yeah, I see. Because the event order, because the running order, execution order, this is executed right after the form we've initialized. But attach property in here is set after the initialization. Form view is initialized, all the components are placed, then this property is set. So this is different. So we need to do something after this property change. This submit button property change. Property changed. Bindable object. So bindable object is button. So how can I access the form view? Let me check. What is the has shadow property attached to shadow? It is not label. It is not the label. The type is shadow here. So declaration type is not button. This is the first mistake. Declaration type is form view. So if the declaration type is form view, so in property change method, I can access the form view. So this is really important. So I can register all the submit buttons when property changed. Or I don't need to visit all of them like here, yield return. I already know which one is it. It's very strange. If there's a multiple instance of form view, how it can declare it? Okay, let's try this one. Property changed. Bindable. Well, before I go with that way, I will check again because the type is mismatched. Type was button, but type should be form view. I think this one, this time, this should be true. Okay, nothing happens because the timing, I was right. The timing is different, so we need to declare a property change, bindable object. I don't remember, old value and new value. So I know the bindable object, the bindable is a form view. So I can call declare event on it. Why I cannot? As form yes, register event, sorry. Register event for my new value. New value is true. Bindable object is form view. So where is the view? I'm not sure. Register events will solve the problem. I know it will work, but it's not performant. It's not optimized solution. But I will check. Is there any way? Is there any other way? I will check for it. But first we have to debug it. Yeah, the bindable object is button. The first one is right. The first one is correct. This is button, as I see. Let's add it to watch. Bindable object, because type, okay. If bindable is button. Yes, true. It's a button. It's not form view. So there is no way to notify form view. There's a submit button. So this is button. Okay. Now this is button. We can inform the parent, but there's no guarantee the parent is form view. Yeah, there's no guarantee, but there's the only way. So people, so developer has to declare their submit buttons inside the form view. It's acceptable because it's a submit button. It should be inside the form view. So let's go with that way. If the new value, firstly, if the new value is true, sorry, new value is true. If it's a submit button and there's an AND condition, and its parent is form view. It is only relation we can understand. Is form view. These two conditions should be met. Must be met. Form view register event for this button or this bindable. But if not, there's two conditions. If not means if the parent is not form view, if the value is not true. So it can separate the if conditions. We shouldn't separate it because there's a missing brace here. If parent, what did I wrong? It was right. If the parent is not FormView, we can return. We don't do anything. But if the parent is FormView, the story begins right here. If its new value is true, register event, and we need a method for unregistering event, like unregistered events. So go back here and copy that method. The opposite one, unregistered events. The complete opposite one. What I was thinking about, what if I remove that unregistering state and call here unregistered event for view? But it's not so, not maintainable. Okay, it's not readable. Sorry, it is really maintainable, but I think this is better for me. Unregistered events for this bindable. If it's not submit button anymore, unregistered event, so it will work. I expect it. I expect it will work. I will define this to documentation, of course. The submit button should be in a form view. Bindable is button. Parent is no. It is interesting because parent shouldn't be null. If parent is null, that means in this situation it should be true. Where is our situation? Here, in the register event situation, it should be true. So I rerun it again. This is advanced entry, not this one, not this one, not this one. Radio button group view, not this one. Checkbox, not this one. Yeah, this method is triggered. So it is set to true, but it's not important for us. So submit button isn't triggered here, submit button. There's a problem here. Register events, yes. There's a problem here. Get child. Yeah, okay, I got it. Because it's not true in this state. So we cannot say this is submit buttons, we can say buttons. This is advanced entry. This is advanced entry. advanced entry, radio button group view, checkbox, and there should be a button. Okay, problem is iterating children. I will check this one. Layout, children. Yeah, the button is one of the children. Or not, I'm not sure. The button is included in FormView. Yeah, right. It was the register event, but how this method isn't triggered? Oh, I see. There is no children at the initialization. Let me get count. Yeah, there is no children at the initialization. So we will get children with child added event. So it is declared in here as child added. Yes, here. Child added. If it's validatable object register event, when a child added. If it's not, do nothing. Yeah, this is the problem start because we implemented it only single point. Maybe we can merge them into single method. Maybe the second one isn't required, doesn't do anything. Because always children count is 0 at the startup, at the beginning. So we don't use the second one. So when a new child added, if it is a button, if element is a button, and I don't use and, yield return. There's no register. So, sorry, I don't use any other case. It's an OR statement if the element is validatable or the element is button, call register event. Now, this method, register event, get the button because button will be added. That button will be added to FormView. Or now, in that case, we support button can be under anywhere, any layout. It shouldn't be included in directly FormView because it listens children of children. It checks recursively. So that logic is better. So this is advanced entry. This is advanced entry. This is advanced entry. This is radio button group view. This is checkbox. This is submit button. Now it is a submit button and you can register the event. Okay. That was my bad. But programming is something like that. You cannot see all the cases. Now I hit the submit button. The submit button is clicked. Submit command isn't now because we add a binding to command to this parameter. So it will be executed. It has executed in view model. Now, if it's not validated, if it's not validated, and right now it's not validated, it will show validations. I will skip that for each statement. Yeah, you can see the validations are shown up. Let me remove breaking points. The model comes from V model. I will remove that from demo. It's not included in package. It is included in demo. Where is our view model? Here, the view model. Yeah, there's a display alert. But yeah, just leave it. Oh, I don't know. Is there anything else like post message or something else? MAUI still don't have it. Okay, that's okay. We can show alert for a demonstration. Oh, that was tough. That was tough, but I like that logic. We mark our button as a submit button because I can use another button here. Like it is not submit button. Also, I don't need to set. If I don't set it, it's not submit button. I can use it for clearing the form, clear, and I can bind the clear commands. So command, clear command, and I can implement it to my view model. But it's not a case of today. But if there's a multiple button, we can set the button as submit button. Also, there can be a multiple submit button. We support it. It doesn't matter. All of them will trigger the submit operation. So now that is okay. It's working well. Let me check once more. FormView. I don't debug it. Okay, that's better. When I try to hit, it says it's not validated. Oh, there's a problem. Why there is a red background for radio? Because they are required also, I think. We didn't implement it. As you know, we comment everything in radio button and checkbox for validations. So that is the problem. Here, 1, 2, 3, and let's say something. Yeah, this area is required, but we didn't implement it. We haven't implemented it yet. You can see radio button. Yeah, radio button has a radio button group view. Sorry, this is not what I mean. This is in Xamarin Forms, I think. No. This is MAUI, yeah. There's a validatable interface here, but we didn't implement it because we did a breaking change on this interface. So there should be an implementation for this interface. We will do it later, but today we work with advanced entry and FormView, and both of them working well. That is the case. Now it's working, but we didn't implement it. We will implement it later. We came end of this session. This is how we maintain open source project. I will create my PR. Maybe we can do it together. This is another step for developing this issue on InputKit project. We take a progress for validations, but it's not over yet. There should be implementation for checkbox and radio button and advanced slider, all of the components. In this case, in InputKit, we'll implement that validation logic. See you on the next session, I hope, if you like. All of the controls will implement it. Oh, I'll take a break. That was tough. We debug most of things, but programming is something like that. See you then.